Hello and welcome to episode 10 of ForMorsport. Wow, episode 10, can you believe it? As always, I'm joined with my boy Chris. And you may notice that we have a new member to the cast.
Come on.
His name is Rob Dogs. How's it going, Rob? You okay?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. You?
Yeah. And how are you, Chris? You okay? How is life?
Very good, very good.
Very, very good. So we have a very, very good show ahead of us. It has been a very, very eventful week, and I know that there will be some shots fired, but you know what? I am ready. I am prepared for it. But before
you can't
I
can't be prepared for that.
Yeah, I'm prepared. Don't listen. I am prepared. I was born ready for the abuse that's coming my way. But before we start, if you are new to us, we're a new channel. We talk about all things football. We are really looking forward to having a great show today. And if you are you're in the chat, hello. I'm going to quickly shout out to Roger, who says, "Okay, guys, hope the program goes well. Just finishing some letter writing and looking forward to the show." And then Chelsea thrashing Real Madrid. Yes, Woo! Don't worry. We will see. I know that this is why Rob is here. Rob is here to fill us in with what's going on in the world of Chelsea. Anyway, also a big shout out to Mrs. Morrison, who says, "Hello, boys." Yes, thank you, Mrs. Morrison, for popping your head in and saying hello. And what she says, "Nice to see my bro looking very handsome."
Yeah, agreed.
Yes, but she's not talking about me or you, Chris. She's actually talking about her brother. Unfortunately. So we are unfortunate that we are not the brother she's talking about. Anyway, where do I start with today? I mean, this is the thing is
we should start on the game on Monday.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, right. Okay. So right. In today's show, we are going to be talking about the Premier League, and we will be dabbling and talking about what's been going on in the Champions League. Yes, we are going to be hitting the floor running, and as I said, I am not afraid of the abuse that I know is coming my way. But I have a question for you guys. Do you ever, when you were growing up, were there any sayings that you might hear your parents say that sticks in your head? Like any old sayings that you used to remember you used to hear it? Well, I've heard one that says you don't count your chickens until they're hatched. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I mentioned that particular saying is because, hands up, I am guilty of laughing in Chelsea's face when they were beaten by Brentford. I even smirked when Manchester United drew with Leicester. I did. I'm not going to lie. I laughed in their face. You got beat. And I was confident, and I mean it, Rob and Chris. I was ultimately confident that when we played on Monday night, we were going to go to Crystal Palace and we were going to win. However, it does appear that there were some Crystal Palace players who had other ideas. Now, I'm going to ask you guys. Exactly, every single one of them. Now, I'm going to put it to you guys because I want to hear, your impression of what happened in that game, and then I will tell you what I think I saw in that game. So we will start with the new boy. We're going to start with Rob Dogs. I want you to tell me, what was your impressions of the game? Cry arse, cry arse, as it is. I don't know if you've noticed that. That's what I see a lot of. Hashtag cry arse. No, I was crying. Anyway, Rob, please tell us, what was your impression?
Well, I didn't actually see the game or any of the goals. I haven't seen any of it. Got man of the match again.
Yeah,
he's on form for them at the moment. He's probably in the running for Young Player of the Year.
Yeah,
how he's been this season. But Arsenal's just one of those teams you never know what's going to happen. Same with Chelsea sometimes, but I think Arsenal a bit more so. And obviously Palace are flying. Vieira's doing very well.
Yeah. And there was a particular, I mean, the funny thing is that it got sent out. It got sent to me this morning that certain Arsenal fans were actually annoyed about the when you send players out on loan. Do you want to talk about that, Rob? Because speak to me about what you saw this morning.
Yeah,
Go on, tell our lovely audience what you actually. But big shout out to Sarah. Thank you so much, Mrs. Wall, for sharing us out. If you are new to us, hit the thumbs up, please. We love the thumbs up. And if you've not joined our subscription, subscribe. Yes, please join us. Grow the channel. Yes, sorry, Rob. Please continue. What did you see this morning?
There was a video of an Arsenal fan being interviewed after the game, which is always a very emotional time for football fans, especially if you've just lost or hammered 3-0. And he chose to go down the route of Chelsea are ruining the league with the loan system is allowed.
Yeah.
Because obviously Gallagher got man of the match, so he ran the show. And it was a bit embarrassing, really, just for someone to, like I said, I didn't see the game, but instead of going after they were being the better team, being a bit more civilized with it, or we just weren't at the races today, chose to Chelsea somehow. I don't know. I mean,
do you know what?
It was ridiculous.
Don't you think, right, that it was really? You're going to think that I'm like him, but I'm not. But I actually understood his reasoning, even though his reasoning was wrong. Wait. Before I can see Chris is about to jump down my throat. Hear me out. What he said actually made sense. He said Chelsea have 30 plus players out and about all around the leagues around the world. And what he was saying was we're playing almost like Chelsea's second team when we play certain teams because they've got guys out there. But when Chelsea play, they're tied and they're not allowed to play against Chelsea. That's what he was saying. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just saying that's what he was saying. He literally said, oh, I've got you clutching at straws. Keith is just reminding me. No, but it's not my words, Keith. I'm not saying they're my words. I'm saying what we heard this morning on Arsenal. Was it Arsenal Fan TV? Was it? I don't know.
Was it?
Or where he actually said that
there are other channels available.
But what I'm saying is that I understood what he was trying to say, but the fact is that if you play a team, you play a team. You need to beat them. If you don't beat them, you can't then say, "Oh, I'm annoyed because Chelsea's loan system is really good and we're playing Chelsea players." Come on. When I heard that, Rob sent it to me. I was embarrassed. I actually was like, shame on us for doing that nonsense. What was we thinking? But hey, sorry, Rob. So anyway, Rob said that to me.
Well, another thing is,
go on.
Another thing is if they've been loaned out by Chelsea, they're not currently good enough to get in the squad. Like Gallagher's clearly proved himself for next season to have himself in the running, and I think there's already been a bunch of stuff on Twitter that Tuchel has said he's looking to plan him in next year. But that wasn't the case when we loaned him out. So you never know how these players be when you loan them out.
But the thing is, do you feel like that? I mean, can you understand his reasoning, even though it may be wrong or flawed? Can you understand what he was trying to say?
No.
Okay, go on, Chris. Please.
Okay.
Explain. Go on. No. Do you know the fun? Sorry, can I just say, Rob, before Chris guns me down, I've said to Chris so many times, I'm going to try my very best not to give open or close, give open questions, not closed questions, because every time I answer a closed question, Chris replies with a closed answer. No. No. So please, Topher, please explain.
Right. It's not Chelsea's fault. It is the league ruling that they don't. These individuals don't play against their parent club. So everybody coming for Chelsea or whatever club loans out their players, it's not them who make the rule. Of course, you can do it contractually and say, if we met in the cups, we don't want you to play and so on and so forth. But in the Premiership, it is a Premiership rule. For me personally, you get rid of that rule, Gallagher can then play against Arsenal, can play against Chelsea, and then it just gets rid of that problem. For me, as Rob has said earlier, he is not a Chelsea player. He is currently, he's owned by Chelsea, but he's playing for Crystal Palace. If the FA or the Premier League get rid of that rule, he plays against Chelsea, takes away the guy's argument. So for me, it's not a Chelsea problem; it's a Premiership problem, a Premier League problem. Sorry.
Yeah. So, and did you see the game?
I did, yeah.
And what would you say was the? Do you think that Arsenal didn't show Crystal Palace enough respect, or do you think it was a case of they were just, they were just beaten by a better team? Do you think that Arteta got it wrong? What's your take on the capitulation that was Arsenal being battered by Crystal Palace on Monday?
I think you've got a mixture of things there.
Yeah, go on.
Arsenal played well to begin with. To start off with. But the 2 goals that you conceded in quick succession kind of took the game away from you really quickly.
Yeah.
And I think people want to play it down, but I think having injuries to certain key players as well, and the understudies just not really being there right now.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think that helps because it disrupts the rhythm. You think of the key players that you were missing already. Tomiyasu springs to mind. The fact that Kieran Tierney.
He's out for the rest of the season.
He's now out for the season.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame, but what's his name? Tavares keeps on getting made the scapegoat for the goals that you concede. And you can see where that would come from. But I think if he keeps on getting hit like this, it's not going to do anything for his confidence. But he as Keith has said in the chat, he was appalling. To be quite honest with you, it's not my words; it's Keith. He was.
But the thing is, so Roger's gone. Palace are a good side. They've beaten City and draw with Liverpool this season, I think. Yeah, I mean, yes, Crystal Palace have definitely played very well this season. I think that it's not going to be a walk in the park just for Chelsea. Even the FA Cup semi-final.
They've drawn against us. We beat them home and away.
Roger. No, I'm talking about Crystal Palace in the FA Cup semi-final.
Just putting a fast one there. We beat them at their place 3-1, and then we beat them 2-0 at our place, or 3-0.
Yeah, but obviously we're going to get to that because I was going to say to Rob, like, basically, in fact, bear with me, Chris. We are slowly going to go through. We're going to go through that game. I mean, The problem for me was, and as I said at the very beginning, was you don't count your chickens until they're hatched.
Yeah.
Now, from my point of view, I was looking at a resurgent Tottenham who did well at the weekend, putting pressure on, in fact, not just putting pressure, but actually knocking Arsenal out of the top 4 and putting, obviously, they are now in the top 4 on goal difference. And all I kept thinking was, we've got 2 games. And I was holding on to those 2 games in hand. But actually, you have to win them. And that's the important thing. If you don't win the games, then, points are more important than, potential. And that, I think, was the problem. For myself, anyway, and maybe other Arsenal fans, if you're watching, you may agree with me. But I didn't think Crystal Palace was the team. I've always said in my head, the game at the Lane is going to be the difficult one. But actually, we got to get there first. Yeah. And the Lane game is, playing not Plough Lane, playing at White Hart Lane is not going to be until May. Just to tell you, Rob, I actually said that Tottenham play at Plough Lane in episode 2, I think. So I was being really silly. I got so caught up that I said Plough Lane. I was like, I don't know why I said that. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I initially believed that I didn't show enough respect. And I was wondering if you guys thought maybe the players did the same. Do you think that Arsenal, as a team, didn't show the respect that Crystal Palace deserve, and that was a big part of the reason why, at the end of the result, it wasn't just it was a convincing beating. Convincing, and totally. So here's the other thing. I shouldn't say it was unexpected because when we played them at the Emirates. I think we scored in the last minute or something ridiculous like that. Or if we would have been beaten by them home and away this season.
Yeah.
Which tells you Crystal Palace are definitely on the ascendancy. and obviously Arsenal at that time were not. They weren't. They were not playing as good. So in fact, I want to show you something before I get it. I was trying to find it on the board, right? I'm going to quickly get this up on the screen. The run-in, because I think this is quite important. And then I want your impressions now on where do you think the league is going to end up? Because we don't have many games left in the season. Where do you see it going? You obviously 2-horse race, Liverpool, Man City at the top. Robert, do you think that anyone can catch Chelsea? Do you think that they are safely in third?
Oh, not at all. Not after recently. It's always been a 2-horse race for a long while now, and then there was always a gap. Chelsea, a gap, and then the fight for top 4. And obviously we lost to Brentford at the weekend, but I don't know where the other. I mean, I can't remember our recent results, but we've clearly lost that gap somehow. And with Chelsea being another team that could be up and down, you can either thrash a team or get thrashed like Brentford proved. I think we're actually in a top 4 battle now. I mean, we're in the best place because we're third, but we've got some tough games coming up as well too. I think we've only played City and United once. I think we've only played Arsenal and West Ham once. I think we've only Liverpool once in the league. So
no, we played
could be
twice, Rob. 1-1 at our place. 2
oh yes.
Yeah, what I'll do then, I'll put this up on the screen. And
but I know out of the last 8 games, there's still got some tough games coming up.
Yeah, I'm just looking at them now, thinking, oh my goodness, there does seem like there's going to be some. I feel like there's going to be some ups and downs throughout. I don't think everybody is just going to be clearly going through. Anyone can beat anyone, can't they? Ultimately, but it does seem like the running actually looks quite hard for Arsenal. I'm just getting it up on the screen now. Bear with me, but yeah, if I can just get it, bear with me 1 second. And technical issues, people. I must apologise. I should have had this up before, but I was unfortunately I was doing something.
Just off the top of my head, you go to White Hart Lane. Got to play
in May, I believe. I think it's in May.
Yeah, you got to also play Chelsea. That's awful in terms of try. But then to me, I don't know if as an Arsenal fan, if you want a battle. Because ultimately, those are the teams you're kind of almost up against, right? Do you not play them? And if you lose kind of valiantly and whatever, rather than what we had on Monday, where the wheels just seemed to fall off because of the 2 early goals, and then you couldn't get it back. You don't want to be losing to the likes of Newcastle and Palace, and as good as they are, because you're above them in the league. So for you feel that, well, they're behind us. We shouldn't really be worried about them per se.
I feel like I think that there is definitely going to be a. I feel the next month is going. Obviously, the next month is going to decide the league. But what I'm saying is that the fact that we've always been behind. Obviously, with COVID and with other games that were being postponed, we ended up having in the bank these games. And they were always in the bank. And to a certain extent, I was thinking, oh, we're getting interest. This is good. We're winning games and we still got these games in hand. But now it's starting to slowly level off. Now, I don't know if you remember Martin Keown saying on there, actually, Chelsea, Tottenham are probably the team that could make it. And I even then I was thinking, what's he on? But I understood what he was trying to say. The run-ins between the running that Arsenal have and the running that Tottenham have, and even the running that Chelsea have, they're all very they're I would say Arsenal got the hardest of the runs, then Chelsea, and actually Tottenham have got quite an easy run in. I don't know if you I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. I was trying to get it up on my PC, but I couldn't actually get it up.
Ultimately,
the Chelsea one.
As everybody would say, points on the board is more important. And you weren't one of the Arsenal fans who said it, but there were some Arsenal fans who were saying that Chelsea were going to get dragged into a top 4 race.
Really?
Right? They were saying that, why are Chelsea talking about being title contenders when they're closer to the likes of Tottenham and Arsenal rather than City, right? And I just thought that was wild talk. But the truth of the matter is, I don't think now that personally, I think Chelsea are safe. I think the only thing that might impact them is Champions League and FA Cup, but that's the same with Bath and whatever else, right? I personally think Chelsea are safe. I think they will make Champions League by hook or by crook. I now think the race is between the two North London clubs, personally. I don't think West Ham... I think they play.
What about Manchester United? Don't you think that they are...
I don't rate them at all. I don't rate... Not from where they are. If they were a little bit closer, possibly. I don't know if they play Chelsea again, but they certainly come to Anfield. And if we're serious about winning the league, we probably have to beat them.
Right.
I would be more confident about doing that.
We still have to play them at theirs,
Yeah. So to me, the fact that they've got to play Chelsea, they've got to play Arsenal, and they've got to play Liverpool.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I put, because they're also a little bit further behind the rest. I'm just not sure whether their defense will not concede goals. I think they'll always score goals. I think they'll create. I'm just not sure if they'll stop goals shipping in at the other end. So for me, it's between Arsenal and Tottenham. I don't want to predict, because obviously we're still quite a way away from that period of time. But to be honest, that game on Monday, I was saying we were speaking offline, and one of the guys from the show, Nana, said, "Mate, it's a big result because Tottenham beat Newcastle 5-1. So there was a goal in terms of goal difference. There was a swing there, and then now Arsenal lost without even scoring. So there's more of a swing. So it's given Tottenham a big window. So the game in hand that Arsenal have, they can win that. But as long as Tottenham beat Arsenal at the Lane, which is quite a way away, in all fairness, that game in hand really, it means nothing."
So do you know? I've just seen. I must apologise, guys. I was trying. What happened was my PC froze, so I actually couldn't get any of my details up on the screen. I was sitting there thinking, what is going on? I'm having one of these days today. There's an interesting comment there from it says PL window cleaning, but it is unfair that Chelsea are allowed to buy all young talent and stockpile them. It's part of the reason UEFA or FIFA are changing it to limit how many you can loan out. I know we were talking about that earlier, but do you think that's a fair point? You know, that what UEFA are doing are trying to even out the balance.
Rob, do you want to take this one?
I mean, at the moment, if it's not a rule, it's not unfair. I mean, obviously, we have a lot of players out on loan. And that's probably the reason why the Arsenal fan made the comment. Like, if Gallagher was the only player we had out on loan, would he be crying after the game saying that Chelsea are ruining the game? Probably not. Yeah. But if they're going to change it, they've clearly see some kind of problem, I assume. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've got an opinion.
Yeah, go on.
If I'm going to be 100%, to be honest, I don't see what the problem is. Again, it's youth team. It's youth team players, right? Yeah. There's no guarantee they're going to make it, or even if it's not youth team players, it's players that Chelsea want to have a better look at. They're doing what Man United used to have, which is links with other clubs, right? So we get the players in, we send them out.
Like a parent club or a feeder club, whatnot. Yeah.
Right? But they're gonna forge a career because we bought them, we've given them the exposure, we've put them into a club. So they're getting fast tracked, right? Some of them will make it at Chelsea, some of them won't. Ultimately, if my club could do that, I'd want them to be doing that all day, because I get to see the best young players from particular countries and from particular teams that are linked or they sit under my team's umbrella, right? In terms of it being unfair, the question I would say is, we're talking about stockpiling. Which other club wants these players? Because I'm telling you, it's not a case of money is the only driver here. If those young players want to play, they don't go to Chelsea. So maybe Chelsea is the only club that actually wanted them. So we can call it stockpiling, but really, is it stockpiling? Because the players that Chelsea have, or we're saying that are stockpiling, I don't see other teams going in for them.
No, but I think an observation that I've seen is that there are the bigger teams are strategically buying potential.
Yes.
They will look at a lower league team, which is part of the reason why when a player makes it, that they will be able to get a portion of the sale. You know, so you know, you might go to, I don't know, Dulwich Hamlets and see the next Messi running around. You will happily pay for him and then loan him out, and you might even loan him back to Dulwich Hamlets.
Of course.
And obviously help him with development. Now, a big chunk of those players that do get sucked into that system, they don't make it. Some do. Yeah. Arsenal have got loads of players around. You know, we've got situations right now. We've got defenders who are playing in France who should be playing in our squad, but are not there and are playing away in France. And obviously
international, the French.
Yeah, and exactly. So you know, that's a really, really key point. Now, before we carry on with that, I just wanted to say sorry about that. What do you call it? The fixtures I was saying was earlier on. We've got Brighton. Arsenal's next game is Brighton. Then we've got Southampton. Then Southampton away. That's a tricky game. Yep. Chelsea away. That's a tricky game. Manchester United at home. West Ham, Leeds, Tottenham, Newcastle, Everton.
There's something riding on every single game.
I feel like every one of those games potentially is like a cup final, because all the way to the end of the season, any slip up, we will have Tottenham, West Ham, and Manchester United breathing down our neck. And I think the same goes for Chelsea. Chelsea also have, and I'm going to see if I can do Chelsea's running. So I'll see if I can get them, get their running. But an interesting comment. I saw a comment there. I think it was from. It was actually from Keith, where he said, in all seriousness, should clubs be allowed to loan players to teams competing in the same league? Now, obviously, we've got to see with the FA Cup, but what's your take on that question? Let me go with. Go on, Rob. You go with that question. What do you think? Do you think that Premier League teams should be allowed to loan to the same league?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's not a rule that they can't, and if it gets, especially if you're as a player for Chelsea, you want to see if they can make it in the Prem. It makes sense to send them to a Prem club and prove it.
But then, should they be allowed to
lower league club,
against them?
Sorry?
Should they be allowed to play against their parent club?
Well, again, at the moment, that's the rule that they're not allowed. So I don't see the problem with it.
Do you think that they should be allowed to play against their parent club?
No, because I don't want Gallagher having a man of match performance against us when we play them. So.
No, I get that. You just can't. Honestly, I know what you mean. You definitely don't want you know, a player of that quality playing against you. But then you'll happily have him play against Arsenal in the league and get man of the match. Roger's made a really interesting point there. Sorry, he said that Man City have 29 players out on loan. Now that's insane.
But another thing, if they're on loan, they're clearly not good enough for Man City at the moment, or not at the level that they need to be. So it's not like you're playing against Man City level players. Like Gallagher's proven himself to be very good this season, but before this season, no one knew he was that good. I can't remember what club he was on loan at before, which he was doing really well out. But
he was at West Brom last year.
Yeah,
West Brom. Yeah, so until this season, we didn't know he'd be able to make it in the Prem. Maybe that could be gelling with Palace properly, or Vieira's got him playing a certain way. We don't know, but at the beginning of the season, no one would have known he would have been good enough to be in the Chelsea squad. And I, for one, think he is, and hope he is next season.
And what about you, Chris? Do you think that players should be allowed to loan team players out and play in the Premier League?
Personally, yeah, I don't see the problem. I don't know why this is a problem. Every club
you don't see it as a conflict of interest, as Keith has just said.
Not at all. At the end of the day, the clubs with the bigger pockets have more players. They can buy more players, so they can send more players on loan. But every single club does it. That's the issue here for me. People are trying to separate it. Look, how many players do you have out on loan Johnny. I don't know who you've sent out on loan.
I actually don't know. That's a good question. Actually, I'll have to see if I can find that out whilst I'm on the air.
Arsenal have done, Liverpool have done. Last year we sent Minamino out, and you want players to get experience so that you can find out whether they're good enough for your club. If they're not, well, Roger has so kindly mentioned that 29 players from Man City are out on loan. If 20 of those guys are not going to be good enough, they're then going to make a profit because they're going to sell them, right? So
just to give you an idea, we have William Saliba, Hector Bellerin, Lucas Torreira
in the Prem.
We're saying these are the playing in the Premier League. I think we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 9. We have 9 players out on loan,
but none of them in the Prem. Last year, you sent Willock out on loan, and then you got 25 million from him in the summer. You may not have got that money if you didn't let him go out on loan in this country. If you let him go, as you have, what's his name? Is it Maitland-Niles?
Yeah.
Maitland-Niles goes to Roma, doesn't do so well, but you might get 8 million for him. But because Willock was in the Premiership and scored like 10 goals, you got 25 million for him. Now, that is more than what you have invested in him. So I don't get what the problem is when Chelsea do it, when Man City do it and whatever. It's because they've got the deepest pockets at the end of the day. They get these players, they send them out on loan. If the players are good, they bring them back. Gallagher's definitely coming back to Chelsea next year, let's be honest, right? But there's going to be others who are going to get sold off. We'll never hear from them again in this country, but they'll have decent careers. And that means it's the model that Chelsea have got. It's we make a profit because we get rid of some of the loan players. I don't think there's a problem with it being in the same league. If the players are good enough, they come back to the club. And if they're not, they're sold. It's not.
Well, there's some key points here that I've just said. So Keith has gone. What if Palace were competing with Chelsea for top 4 and Gallagher was leading the charge? And then another one from PL Cleaning where he said, nothing wrong with loaning out players in the PL or other leagues. My beef is they should be allowed to play against their parent club. And I think, do you remember we discussed this for the FA Cup? Because obviously Gallagher is cup tied and is unable to play against Chelsea in the FA Cup. And just quickly, they're running Chelsea's games. So they've got Real Madrid in the Champions League today. They play Southampton away. They then play Real Madrid again. Then they have Crystal Palace, Arsenal. They play West Ham, Everton, Wolves, Leeds, Manchester United, Leicester, and Watford. So that's actually not as easy a run as it's. There's some real sort of, potential banana skins in that run-in to the end of the league. And I mean, Rob, what games would you say definitely are the ones that you think, I'm not sure if we're going to get a result there? Would you say of all those games there, do you think how do you think you'll do? Do you think you'll beat West Ham at home? Do you think you'll beat Man United away?
West Ham's a tough game, definitely, with how they're playing. They have a very good season. Man United is one of them teams where I don't care about form. They could always show up against you. They can always turn up and just thrash you. It doesn't matter how bad they're doing. Same with Arsenal. Arsenal recently, I mean, no matter how good our form or bad theirs, and it seems to be a bit of a bogey team. I think you beat us last season when we had a unbeaten run under Tuchel at the beginning, which led to a couple of bad results. So, there's a really tough games in there. I mean, Everton should be 3 points, although I don't really want to do that to Lampard, but it's probably going to happen. Leeds are fighting for their life still. And then you got Leicester and Wolves are very good games as well. And like you mentioned earlier, we still got Real Madrid in between them. If we get through, we'll have other big games in between them. Palace in the Cup, if we beat them, got bigger games after that, either City or Liverpool. So there's tons of tough games. It's be a tough period coming up.
Yeah. What about you, Chris? What do you think? Do you think there are, of those games that Chelsea have left, which ones do you think are the ones that, a defensive draw would work?
Do you know what? It's a funny one because, again, people probably think I'm going to war for Chelsea, but I just think I want to always be objective when it comes to these things.
Yeah.
Take the result from this weekend out of it. I think Chelsea had only lost one game in 25.
Yeah.
This is not a crisis.
No.
Chelsea could go through the whole season and not lose again. But that's what I think people are not getting here. That's the confusion for me. Chelsea have lost 2 games in 25, right?
Isn't it though more about what's been going on with Chelsea PLC? The fact that there has been a lot of turmoil, and is that affecting their ability now on the field?
But not as an outsider looking in. If you gave, I'm not going to be funny. I'm not going to be rude. I don't want to be rude here, but Johnny, if they said let's swap positions, I think you'd take it. 2 defeats in 25.
No, man, I'll buy your hand off for that.
They're playing Real Madrid tonight.
Yeah.
Would you not swap positions with them?
Yeah, well, obviously.
Yeah. So I think people.
But then, are we doing that thing where we expect so much from Chelsea that when they do something like this, we go, oh, blip, what's going on? Because Chelsea set themselves such a high standard and have been the best team in London for many, many years. And so a blip like this, there's people that are, obviously.
It's one game. And I can't think of a better game to get it out of your system than Real Madrid. If you're not up for it, you're going to be out of the Champions League. They couldn't have picked a better game to be coming into after a loss. You know what I mean? To me, I just think a lot of we all do it. Look, City drew to Palace, and everybody was like, "Oh, Liverpool have to be the favourites." Why? Why? They drew a game. They didn't even lose. Do you know what I mean? But one result. This is how difficult the Premiership is now. That one result, lose. If you don't win, everybody thinks it's terrible.
Yeah,
I don't mean to be funny. Man United will trade places with Chelsea and take on all the sanctions and this, that, and the other. Arsenal in the Premiership would take it because they're playing Real Madrid. They're in the FA Cup semi-finals. Right now, they could still win 2 of the biggest trophies there are. This is not a blip for me. They lost 1 game.
So
I don't even think all the. I was going to say, I don't even think all the behind-the-scenes stuff has affected them because it's gone on for a long time, and there's been 7 games where we've won, and it's not been a question. And then there's been 1 game you could argue after an international break, it's broke up the rhythm a little bit, something like that. I mean, Eriksen's clearly bolstered the Brentford team as he's come in.
Yeah.
So I don't think the outside stuff been a problem. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty. People don't know what's going on yet, but it hasn't really affected them on the pitch until recently, which could be for a number of reasons. Or it could just be as simple as Chelsea weren't that good that game. Brentford played very well, which I think is the main reason.
Yeah.
So obviously I can't carry on before we see the who I believe are the dark horses in all of this. And this is the fixture list for Tottenham. Now, Tottenham, they have their next game is Aston Villa away. Now, that's a difficult game because Aston Villa are a good side. They play Brighton at home, then they play Brentford, and obviously that's the reunion for Eriksen. So I'd imagine he's going to want to play as his socks off. They have a home game against Leicester, then the big one with Liverpool away. Then the even bigger one, the North London derby. And then they play Burnley and Norwich as their last 2 games. So their last 2 games will be dealing with the relegation, relegation battle. I think by then, I think Norwich are already gone. Burnley will no doubt, be fighting for, fight for their lives. Can you see Tottenham's running looks the easiest of the 3? Don't you see? Do you agree?
I agree, but Tottenham are also historic ballers, so you don't know what they're going to
do. That was it. Right?
It's just true.
There was no filter. Just straight in.
But another thing is they've also got Antonio Conte now, so you don't know if that's not going to be a case for the end of the game. You've got their history of balling plus one of the best managers in the world at the moment. So you don't know.
Yeah.
But they're another team and they could turn up to one of those games, thrash Norwich or get beat by Norwich. You don't know.
So go on, Chris. And what?
One of the best strikers in the world as well. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
So we'll quickly go to the very end of the table. who do you believe are going to be the teams that will go down? I'm assuming you're going to say Norwich is number one.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I know as a very loyal Liverpool supporter, you hope Everton go down.
110%. Lampard. Oh, but I think this is the year probably that you're not going to have enough to pull it out of the bag. And
which is crazy, don't you think?
Now are probably the three that will go. Only just. I think Leeds and Everton will just about have enough. Look, I haven't looked at the fixtures. I just feel that Burnley are not scoring enough, and they're just taking a battering when they play certain teams.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I think Burnley and Watford are going.
So we're looking at the obviously the bottom of the table. You've got Norwich, Watford, Burnley, Everton, and Leeds are not so far behind either. I think, and I know obviously this is probably me being historical, and I love the fact that there are only a couple, there's only a couple teams now that have never been relegated. Arsenal being one of them. It used to be Aston Villa, and Everton was the other team. And it seems like Everton, as big a club as they are about to go down. And what will that do for, the fans and the pedigree of that club? It's been a Premier League club forever. And it should be, I look at it this way, it should be a reminder that if you don't keep your, if you don't take care of your team, if you don't look after the fans, if you don't invest, if you don't follow the market and get you get players, the right players in, look what happens. But what I don't get.
No. I agree with some of it and some of it I don't.
Yes, please go.
Everton, I don't know the exact figure, but they have outspent Arsenal. They've outspent Liverpool. For me, they don't have a plan. They've spent a lot, haven't they, Rob? They don't have a plan. This guy came in and he hasn't got football people around him. So some of the decisions that they've made have just been appalling. I can't remember who his first manager was. I think he had Martinez, but he went to the Belgium job. And since then, the managers they've had, Sam Allardyce, Marco Silva, Ronald Koeman, Rafael Benitez, Ancelotti, they're no mucks, right?
No. I think Ancelotti is about to, I think the record is to win 5 league titles in 5 different countries. That's insane. And you had him as a manager.
Yeah.
But then Everton actually were playing good football then.
Yeah. But the point is, Real Madrid came calling, he left, but they still went and got another they got a Champions League winning manager in Rafa Benitez. And this is when
that was the wrong appointment, wasn't it? Benitez was the wrong appointment.
Terrible appointment.
It's like, would Arsenal fans ever accept an ex-Tottenham manager? I mean, Tottenham will. They took Georgie Graham, but we have a little bit more class than that. So would we? We wouldn't accept that. Obviously, they did, and I just think that from that moment on, they've gone one direction, haven't they? And now look at them struggling.
But the lack of direction. Let me, but you back Benitez in the winter transfer window, right? They went and bought 2 fullbacks, one from Rangers and the Ukrainian boy, right?
Yeah.
And then the week later, when it shut, you then sack him. And I'm just thinking, so even if Lampard wanted the job a couple of weeks before or whatever, he can't even get players. So he's got to work with the players from Ancelotti and Benitez's era and try to keep them in the Premier League. To me, it doesn't matter who's at the helm. I just think it's sad that it is Frank and he's at the beginning of his kind of football management. He could have a relegation on his CV and it's got nothing to do with him. But this is not even...
I agree. I mean...
it's not Frank's fault. No, go on, Rob.
Yeah, I think the horse was already bolted at that point. But I mean, he clearly hasn't made them any better, but I think they were already going down. But Lampard's also not... he's also not guilty in this because he bought Dele Alli, and I think, why are you going to buy a useless player like Dele Alli? He's not going to. He hasn't been good for a few years, and he's not the kind of player who's going to dig in and fight for you. He's been useless for years. He's not going to fight these games for you. And that was his first signing. I don't know if he thought he was going to rejuvenate his career, because when Ali was doing well, they compared him to Lampard and Gerrard, which was clearly never the case. But yeah, Everton have just spent too much money on the wrong investment, and Lampard's going to be the one to suffer, unfortunately. But he also hasn't. He doesn't have the experience of relegation battle, so he was never going to be the right appointment. I don't know why he took it.
So we've got a comment there. I've got to just put on here.
I'm coming
Johnny, I would accept Conte. Conte is world-class and elite manager in the same conversation as Pep, Klopp, Ancelotti, Mourinho, and Tuchel. Yes, I didn't say he was. I just don't want their second. And that's just purely, don't get me wrong, he's a quality manager.
Chelsea's thirds.
I wouldn't want him. No.
You are joking.
Wow.
No, he's been to Tottenham. He's been soiled.
Are you serious?
He has been soiled.
Oh, give over. Stop.
No.
He's an elite manager, Johnny. Yeah.
He is elite, but do you know what? There are other elite managers out there. That, I think that's the problem. I think
and you can't attract any of them.
Give me two names.
Oh, Roberts is throwing it out.
Don't ignore me, Johnny. I'll keep asking you.
Oh no, hear you. Go on, what?
Give me two. You said there's others. Give me two.
Two managers.
Yeah. Elite.
What? Elite managers?
No, just elite. Because obviously you said there's other elite managers.
Zinedine
First,
Zidane.
let's name them and then see if they'd come Arsenal.
Zinedine Zidane.
Oh,
Zidane's not going Arsenal.
I'm just saying. No, you asked me. You said to me,
that's
managers.
fair. No, that's fair.
I like Zinedine Zidane. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Okay, let's go real. Okay, fair enough.
I think United should be looking at Zidane. I don't know why they're not.
And you're gonna, if you're talking about players who I think would be good for the squad, yeah, I would go. I wouldn't go much further than that. I certainly wouldn't think. I wouldn't go away from Laurent Blanc. I wouldn't.
What?
I wouldn't. I think that these are good. They're good managers in their own right, and they are. Listen, I look at it this way: managers are. There are some very, very good managers out there, and you want managers that are gonna win, are gonna fight for their club. I'm not saying that any of those names you just meant there are brilliant managers. They are absolutely brilliant. What my argument was is that I wouldn't want if they went to Tottenham. That was it. I'm not saying that they're not good managers. They're all excellent managers. I just wouldn't want, if they've been to Tottenham, I don't want them to come to us. And that's it. I mean,
even if you got Conte and you won the league.
Say that again.
You wouldn't take Conte even if you got him and won the league.
I wouldn't. Well, but that's two different.
Because he's a manager who could do it.
He's at the club, and then he's been at the club a whole season. That he then wins the league. Of course, you're going to be happy. But what I'm saying is that I don't want to reject. You sound like well, listen to this. We sound like old married couple. Thank you, Sally Myers. Yes. See, this is the beauty of ForMorsport. I don't want it. I love. This is what I absolutely love. I absolutely love when we go on and we do a live and we talk from the heart. When when you've got your agendas and all this nonsense, you have to fight your corner. You don't know what's going to come out your mouth. Fight your corner.
Johnny, get away with this. We're not.
Look. So hold on. We've got PO window cleaner. I take Conte tomorrow.
Bro.
Yeah. And the thing is, I believe that he's an Arsenal fan, so I can't even. He is an Arsenal fan, and he has said he'd take Conte. But I remember the abuse that Georgie Graham got when he went to Tottenham because he was an Arsenal, because he'd been to Arsenal. And I know the abuse that we would give a manager if he came to us from Tottenham.
But he's
on the stands, you telling me any manager walks through that door and he has been at Tottenham and he comes to us when it's gonna be messy. It's going to be like what happened at Everton. They did not accept him. He has won a Champions League and they did not accept him. There were people saying, we don't care who he is. He's been to Liverpool. He should not be in our club. And there was a small section that never accepted him, even to the point where they waved him goodbye. And I think I probably one of those fans that will be just like that. I'll be like, I ain't accepted him. But anyway, it is what it is.
Football's moved on. For me personally, I'm not saying rivalry's not there, right?
Yeah.
But we started to see it when Mourinho has had how many jobs in this country? 3.
I mean, I know it's insane, isn't it? Yeah.
3 different, and the fans, they take to him because he's a winner, right?
Yeah.
So Everton, I get it, but then let's look at their stadium. Let's look at their infrastructure. They're from back day. They haven't moved forward.
I know, right? they're still. So before I carry on, I know that Rafa said that Rafa was past his sell-by date. Yeah, I mean, I can't.
Listen,
this is the beauty of football. You have an opinion and you're entitled to it.
Yeah, cool.
It's just my opinion. I personally wouldn't want a hand-me-down from Tottenham, but but there are others that are happy to do that. Wow. To me, that's it. But before we kick, because obviously we have spent a large chunk of our 1 hour show.
I was ready for today. I even wore
because I'm very conscious of the fact that Rob needs to get and be shouting at the screen to watch Chelsea beat Real Madrid today. And there was another game in the week where we saw Liverpool, your team, go to Benfica, and they eked out a very, very good 3-1 win. Now, whilst that game was playing, I was texting you, and I was texting him during the game because when it got to 2-1, it actually became quite an enjoyable game to watch. It wasn't so dominant.
It was squeaky bum time.
Well, we're going to get to that. And that, believe it or not, that was what he wrote me in the text. He actually said it's squeaky bum. And then Diaz comes out of nowhere and scores. Before we get to you, Chris, because obviously it's your club. Chris, Rob, did you watch the game?
I didn't. I saw the second half of the City game.
You watched the boring one. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Yeah. I actually was bouncing.
I thought it'd be better.
Do you know what? I just felt it was very cagey. Atletico Madrid were very defensive. But before I go into that, so Chris, what was your take on the very? To me, it seemed like a very decent away game for Liverpool. What did you take from that game?
To be honest, it was. Let's if we're going to be talking in all seriousness, in the first half, we absolutely were all over them. Had so many chances, they didn't really know what they were doing. Yeah. Right? But as with Liverpool, Heart Attack FC, every so often we get complacent. We think we're the big dogs and whatever, and we just start getting a bit silly, a bit lazy, and that's what happened. Konate, that's a simple clearance. It's a simple clearance. We let them back in the game, and in all honesty, they were unfortunate not to get a penalty. I
sent that text and said that should have been a pen.
I'm seeing them given. I didn't think it merited him going down the way he did. And it wasn't as though his shirt was being pulled. It was just a hand on the chest, but he went down. I thought, okay, it could have been given. It didn't. That's fine. Did they deserve to only get away with 2-1? No way. Like, they didn't play well enough in the periods that they were, let's say, dominating to have made the tie a little bit more, what should I say, difficult, if that's the right word. I still don't think we're through. You know me. When it comes to Liverpool, it's glass half empty.
You're a bit pessimistic sometimes.
Yeah,
I think you've done the business. I think you've done the business.
Bantered because we've only got one league title, so we're in the same bracket as Leicester and Blackburn. It's like you can't win being a Liverpool fan. You wait 30 years, you win the title. They're like, stop, just be quiet, man. You won one Premier League, be quiet.
Yeah.
So you can't win at the end of the day. But It was in that first half, like Mo Salah since the African Cup of Nations. If we're gonna be honest, he's just been abysmal. Like he's been absolutely abysmal. And yesterday he was just awful. Like Trent put at least 2 balls over the top for him.
Yeah.
Pre-Christmas time, he would have buried those.
Yeah,
like, absolutely, just it was awful. So I don't know. I think I don't know if we're going to get on to talking about it, but it doesn't bode well for Sunday for me.
Well, I'll be honest with you. What I said to Rob, because I know Rob. In fact, actually, his dad has just said, "Great show tonight. Really enjoyed it. I'm off now to bite my nails and hope we get a result. Come on, you Blues!" So, Roger, thank you so much for the support. Hit the thumbs up, please. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, thank you very much for subscribing. I know Rob is going to leave us in 5 minutes so that he can watch the game. I don't know, Chris, if you want to carry on. If not, we will call it a day. It's up to you. There's a few more games I wanted to talk about, but obviously we don't support Chelsea unless we want to support Chelsea for today. But I don't know. But obviously there was another game. It was the Man City versus Atletico Madrid game. And like Rob, I watched the parts of the second half of the Real Madrid, the Atletico Madrid game. But it was very stale. It's very cagey. Atletico Madrid do what they do, defend in numbers, and they're like the Borg. They all work together and they understand each other's positions. They stifle the game. They're claustrophobic. They foul when they need to. They're very, very, very good side. And if it wasn't for Foden's one bit of magic, literally coming on, first touch of the ball, through ball, De Bruyne goal, 1-0. I don't personally think this tie is over though. Of all of the games yesterday, of the 2 games yesterday, that was the one game that made me think Atletico Madrid could actually do something back at home. But we'll see. Can you explain to me what happens in the next round? Who plays who? Because I can't remember.
Do you want to take that, Rob?
Do you know, Rob?
If City and that go through, no. If City go through,
yeah. Who do they play?
If you go through, you play the winners of the Atletico City game.
Oh, wow! So you've dodged them then. So Liverpool dodged City. You play Bayern if Bayern beat Villarreal.
Villarreal or Bayern. We ain't through
yet. Yeah. So obviously that was the big games. Those are the big games from yesterday. Today, Chelsea obviously are playing Real Madrid. You smashed them last time round. Are you confident, Rob, about what's going to happen in the game today? Are you confident that you're going to get a result?
I don't think you ever can be confident against Real Madrid. It's such a historic team. Got Benzema, one of the most underrated striking play. If he decides to turn on today, there's not much we can do. And obviously last year when we played him, we were playing a certain way under Tuchel. We were pressing loads, we had the ball loads, we controlled the tempo, and Werner was a lot better with making the runs, even if he missed sitter after sitter, which he did. He's not doing that this season. He's not making those spaces and that. So I don't think it'll be the same as last year. I think it'll be a lot more tougher. Plus they've got younger players who are doing well, like Vinicius Jr. and stuff like that. So I don't think it'll be an easy game.
Yeah. And what about you, Chris? Where do you see this game going?
If Chelsea win the midfield battle, they win the tie. It's like I said with PSG. Only thing is, Modric turned up.
And he seems to do that quite a lot, doesn't he? As we found out.
Yeah. So
and the other game, which is Bayern Munich and Villarreal. Where do you see that as just as a dead cert Bayern Munich win?
They could lose tonight, right? They could lose tonight. But you don't put it past them to then put 6 against them next week.
Very true. Very true.
In all honesty, I think Bayern go through. I think Bayern go through over the 2 legs. The Chelsea one, I can't call that at all. Cannot call it.
Yeah. Right. So what we're going to do then, because I know that the game is about to begin, I think we will end episode 10 here on time. 1 hour. I am so impressed.
And I know I've spoken a lot today, but you know what? I appreciate. Obviously, Rob, I appreciate you coming on today. Really appreciate that. But Johnny, I respect. You came in here and you took the abuse and whatever.
I had no choice.
But you know what? I respect it a lot because it could have been easy to hide. Let's be honest.
No.
Right? But if Rob has come today, you've got yours, and goodness knows it might be me on Sunday. Do you know what I mean? I might be holding.
Well, we will find out. I don't know if you remember, guys. I put a video up in our WhatsApp group where I literally was like, I'm at work and I'm just getting roasted left, right, and centre. I got Tottenham fans running me. I got West Ham fans. I was just getting roasted left, right, and centre. But you know what? You wear the badge. You love them. even when they're bad. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This was episode 10. If you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you are new to us. Really do appreciate all the comments that you've given, and thank you so much for being in the live. We're growing. We're now 21 subscribers. Thank you so much to all of you. Really do appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at 7 p.m. This coming Sunday. Wednesdays and Sundays are our show, 7 p.m. So guys, you take care, and we will see you in the next show. Peace out, guys. Take care.
Cheers.
Stay there. Got to take one picture.